The Democrats faced another humiliating defeat last night as Alexander Vindman was taken down by a DSA candidate. Don't forget, Alexander Vindman was the face, if not the tip of the spear, for the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. So last night's primary results prove that the Democrats need more than just running on anti-Trump sentiment in order to actually win. Take a look. This was the reaction on MS Now, and even they were shocked when Angie Nixon pulled ahead.
Alexander Vindman in the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in Florida. This one is a monster of an upset. Vindman raised a ton of money, came into this with a ton of national name recognition, national support in this race, and the hope of Democrats that he could make this, we're going to do news now here in a second, that he could make this a fight, put Florida on the map nationally. Instead, Angie Nixon from the left has defeated him handily in this primary. I'm about to do the news now hit.
You could hear in real time Kornacki's realization, oh shoot, the Democrats just lost Florida. There is absolutely no way they can win this race with Angie Nixon on top. In case you don't remember, Angie Nixon is the person who stormed the floor of the House with a bullhorn not too long ago. So obviously, she's just very radical, absolutely no decorum, and she's not going to win this state at all. She is openly a DSA candidate. In fact, she just recently joined the DSA, so she is literally a card-holding member. And Florida, of course, is home to many Cubans and Venezuelans who literally fled from socialist and communist countries. They tried to get away from dictators. They tried to get away from a government that grew too big for its own good. So there is no way they're going to vote for her. The Democrat establishment was completely caught off guard. Just take a look at this top headline from Politico today. Florida Dems scramble to regroup after Nixon upset. They didn't see this coming at all. I mean, similar to what Steve Kornacki said on MS Now, it is true that Vindman outraised massively Nixon. He outraised her 16-1. That was a huge advantage. Obviously, he had the name recognition, the national ID. He was the tip of the spear for the Trump-Russia collusion investigation, that entire hoax. So he was well known, not just nationally and in Democrat circles, but certainly in Florida. So this proves that the Democrat strategy of not having a strategy other than being anti-Trump clearly isn't working for them. The energy, unfortunately, for the rest of us is with these DSA members, these radical candidates. And with Vindman, the Democrats sort of had a chance in Florida. It was lean Republican, maybe a toss-up, but now, according to The Hill, take a look at this. It just shifted. Sabato's crystal ball moves Florida Senate race win to safely Republican after Nixon wins. So clearly, she just has no chance here. And Sabato's crystal ball, by the way, for those of you not familiar, they have a 99% accuracy prediction rate. If you go back to every single prediction that they've made since 2002, so 24 years of predictions, they have a 99% accuracy. Much better than a lot of the polls, by the way. So now they're saying, well, Republicans pretty much have this in the bag. And of course, Republicans can't take this for granted when it comes to midterms, especially. It's all about turnout and being engaged and making sure your voters get to the polls. So all of that needs to happen. But the Democrats right now, they're obviously in a free fall. They're obviously in panic from these DSA candidates, which are going to hurt them in the general election come November. But on the Republican side, you see them rallying. You see them really enthusiastic about who they are electing in these primaries or nominating in these primaries, however you want to frame it. But take a look at the reaction, the reception that Byron Donalds got just today in Florida. Yeah, so Byron Donalds is officially going to be the GOP nominee to be the next governor in Florida. And you saw there just a huge reception for him. And I think that's really going to hurt Democrats because they've spent the last few decades talking about how Republicans are racist and talking about how, blacks and minorities shouldn't vote Republican. And there you saw pretty much an all-white crowd just giving him a huge reception. People couldn't wait to shake his hands. You heard multiple people saying, hey, you have my vote. I think Florida really is leading the way for the conservative movement across the country. They're showing the rest of the rest of the country, other states, how it can and should be done. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Byron Donalds ends up having a career beyond state politics. I thought that right there was just really inspiring, especially when you contrast it to what the Democrats are going through right now, just the sheer panic they have whenever these DSA candidates win. And what's really funny is while Byron Donalds is the GOP nominee going into this governor's race, the Democrat nominee, David Jolly, he is already trying to distance himself from Angie Nixon. Even though she pulled an upset in Florida, he knows that the DSA, he knows that her brand of Democrat, left-wing, radical, progressive politics is just toxic. He knows there is no way it can win in Florida, let alone nationally. So not even 12 hours have passed, and he's already disavowing her.
Is this a state, Florida, that can elect you as governor, but also elect progressive Angie Nixon for the U.S. Senate at the same time?
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Look, I reject the DSA. I reject socialism. I'm a capitalist, and I think capitalism provides the greatest amount of economic mobility. I have been with Angie on the trail, and I'll tell you this, she's a fighter. She leaves it all on the field. She goes in every room talking about what I talk about. Can we improve your access to housing, affordable housing, to health care? Do you know where to educate your kids? What is it that government can do where the private sector is unable to improve your life? Angie's out there fighting for those same values. I think she and I have a very different approach to this. But look, I reject socialism. I'm a capitalist. We'll see how Florida's voters sort that out in November.
Yeah, it's a bad sign when your nominee for governor is openly feuding and distancing himself from the Senate candidate. The Democrats are in a world of pain and a world of hurt. And look, the consensus, the conventional wisdom is that Republicans are just going to get smattered and clobbered in the midterms. And that's usually what happens, right? And even right now, most people expect Republicans are going to lose the House. It's going to be a fight for the Senate. But as these DSA candidates keep getting nominated in these primaries, it's hard to see how this doesn't keep hurting the overall Democrat brand in the mainstream. And to be honest, I think that these DSA candidates know just how toxic their brand of politics is. Just this morning, it hasn't even been 12 hours since she won her primary. Just this morning, Angie Nixon was already trying to distance herself from Hasan Piker. Of course, Hasan Piker is like the granddaddy right now of all things left-wing, DSA, radical, like just all the negative things you want to say about the Democrat Party. He really is the tip of that spear. Everyone knows his name, especially on the left. And Angie Nixon's trying to act like she's never heard of him. She was so unbelievable that even Gayle King was like, huh? Really? You can really hear the disbelief in her voice and see it on her face.
About that, would you want him to campaign with you?
I don't really know who Mr. Piker is. I've heard about him, and so
you don't know who he is?
I said I don't really know who he is personally or anything like that. I am actually focused on Florida and making sure that I'm talking to voters here to uplift their needs and their concerns. And so that's what my focus is going to be over the next 76 days.
Angie Nixon really saved herself with one word there. I don't really know him personally. Of course she knows who he is. He is the largest podcaster, the largest voice in your space. How are you not going to know that thought leader? And I hate to use the word thought leader because his content is just garbage and it's just filled with hateful rhetoric. He doesn't actually provide any substance. But of course she knows who he is, and she's trying to, play semantics here. Oh, I don't know him personally. Now, despite all of this being bad news for the Democrats as far as these DSA candidates winning their primaries, it's not all roses for the Republicans. There are some challenges as well. Last night, there was a major upset coming out of Pennsylvania in Butler County. Take a look at this. Pennsylvania State House 12th District special election. The Democrat Brandon Dukes beat Republican Scott Timpo by about 88 votes. Butler in Butler County, of course, that is where the assassination attempt against President Trump was. So that obviously is just a huge red warning sign for the Republicans, red siren going off. That should be raising alarms. President Trump won that district by, I believe it was 14 points, and I believe it's been 22 years since a Democrat has won that district. So that obviously should be concerning for Republicans. If they lose Butler in November, I mean, that's just a bad sign. So this was a special election. Their current Republican representative resigned, so this was a special election to fill that seat. And because the midterms are in November, they'll have that race again. So they're going to face off again. So we'll see. You know, was this a matter of turnout? Because I believe turnout was around 32%. It was pretty low, as they usually are in primaries and special elections. And so we'll see. Come the midterms, are Republicans going to make a comeback, or is this a warning sign for Republicans that, hey, we really need to focus on turnout and getting a message together? On top of that news, there was also this new poll breaking that supposedly shows El Sayed in the lead in Michigan. Take a look at this. From Mediaite, shock poll, El Sayed opens up 7-point lead over GOP rival after recent data showing him trailing. Now, this poll that shows him up 7 points is from Susquehanna. I've never heard of them. I looked them up. They apparently have a B- grade, so they're not the biggest poll. They're not the most accurate. They're obviously behind a lot of the bigger polls like Atlas Intel, Reuters, etc. But look, on this channel, I have really trusted the polls. I know a lot of you in the comments say, Daniel, you can't trust the polls, but I've given them a lot of the benefit of the doubt. I believe that there are still, believe it or not, polling outlets out there that try to actually be accurate, right? Because their reputation, their livelihoods supposedly count on being as accurate as possible. But, you know, my sort of faith in the polling system, I mean, if you haven't heard this story, this really was surprising to me. So there was actually a fake poll that was busted, and it wasn't so much busted by an expose as much as it was them coming out of the closet. So according to the Los Angeles Times, poll showing Bass leading Rahman by double digits was bogus. Company says they have come out of the closet. So the fake poll by Median Strategies showed Bass leading Rahman by nearly 12 percentage points. Here are the key takeaways from the article. The phony poll by a company called Median Strategies showed Bass leading Rahman, blah, 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 blah. But the company acknowledged Monday, just 2 days ago, that it was completely fake. Median said the poll was instead a quote-unquote short-term social experiment to see how polling information could be distributed without verification. So they're claiming that, you know, it was just a social experiment, but of course there's no way for anyone else to prove that. And so my question is, was it really a social experiment? Were they trying to influence the outcome of the election by creating a narrative around the race? Because if you think about it, these polls have a major impact. If it's showing a candidate with a huge lead, you could really depress the voter turnout on the other side. Oh, the other candidate is leading by so much, my vote's not going to mean anything. There's no point in me going out. Or what about when it comes to fundraising? There may be people who want to donate big money, real money, or even grassroots dollars, small donations that could make a huge difference when it comes to advertising or get out the vote operations or hiring people to help you with communications, public relations, developing policy positions. All of these are huge factors. And when you have polls that really set a narrative, again, that influences voter turnout, that influences fundraising, that influences the support you get from the national party. I mean, if the Republican Party or the Democrat Party is focused on races all across the country, wouldn't they want to focus on a competitive race versus a race where, we're just throwing away our resources? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's really interesting. So all of that to say, don't forget, before the primary, El Sayed was supposedly up 12, 14, 16 percentage points. He barely won against Haley Stevens. And so a lot of pundits and news outlets are talking about this huge poll in Michigan. Oh, this could be a huge upset. Republicans are really in trouble. But when you take a look at how vastly the polls overestimated him, when you take a look at this new polling company saying, oh, our poll was complete BS, we were just making it up, we were running a social experiment, I think even for people like me who were still willing to give polls the benefit of the doubt. The polling industry really needs a reckoning. They've lost a lot of people's trust. This is not good for them at all. Here is News Nation talking a little more about this scandal, if you will.
This company, Median Strategies, sounds like a polling company. It sounds like a bunch of bros sitting around making up numbers that political pundits and longtime, even experienced reporters like myself relied on. It was published in all the papers, the LA Times, all of the newspapers, because it was so provocative. It showed Karen Bass killing her opponent in the LA mayor's race, and Francesca Hong in Wisconsin running away with the governor's race there. She lost. Karen Bass says that's a fake poll. She, relied on it, used it as a rallying cry. We'll see what happens in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But people should know this was an absolute fake poll. Now these people, Median Strategies, they're hiding.
Okay.
Because a lot of reporters are after them with sharpened.
So with all of that being said, I don't think there's any good polling on the midterm elections. I think it's going to be hard to tell how it's actually going to turn out. Obviously, historically, the party out of power does better, but with all these DSA candidates that are being nominated, it's going to turn off a lot of independents, a lot of people who just show up for the general election. There are even Democrats who are maybe going to be depressed and sit it out, or maybe even cross the aisle and vote for Republicans. So it's going to be hard to tell until election day. Obviously, it can go either way, but I don't think it's a slam dunk for the Democrats, especially if the Republicans hunker down and fight all of this. And I believe that Angie Nixon, going back to the original topic of this video, I think that even she knows that she's a long shot in Florida. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are RL1401. Bob, thank you so much. That was very generous of you. Always great to see you. Connie Shearer, A4, NRA 1776 Heston, State of Dade Scruffett, Glenn Kelly, and Yomsky 4970. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. Many new usernames I haven't seen before, so welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad that you enjoy my videos. But Angie Nixon, she knows she's going to lose. The Democrat Party knows she's going to lose, but she's trying to gin up support. She's trying to whip up her supporters, and even CNN was taken aback by some of her language here.
So I look forward, Ashley Moody, to taking you on and to whooping you in November, and you will be calling me your senator.
State Representative Angie Nixon, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
It's one thing to be confident. It's one thing to project that winner's attitude to get your base and your voters to come to the polls. But it's a completely other thing to come across as completely hateful and just violent. That right there, I don't think was a good look for her. And even Laura Coates, CNN's anchor there, even she looked taken aback by all of that. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So as of today, what is your projection come November? Break it down for both the House and the Senate. Who do you think is going to win control of each? The House, Republicans, House, Senate, or Republicans? Blah, blah, blah. I'm losing my words. Sorry. Yeah, let me know your predictions down below. Essentially, this entire second half of the video was a retake because something happened with the audio, and I'm about to rush out the door, so just stumbling over my words here. But yeah, let me know your projections for November. I'm interested to read everyone's thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you and the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.